What if I told you that a 57-year-old engine could absolutely demolish a brand new McLaren 720S in a drag race? That a piece of 1960s American muscle could leave a $500,000 Lamborghini Huracan eating dust? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into the most insane automotive David versus Goliath story you've ever heard. I'm talking about engines that were built when JFK was president, when the Beatles were just getting started, and when your grandparents thought 100 horsepower was fast. These mechanical monsters are making modern supercars look like they're standing still. In the next 15 minutes, I'm going to reveal 5 shocking truths that will completely change how you think about automotive performance. You'll discover why a 1967 Corvette with the right modifications can gap a McLaren P1. You'll learn about the legendary engine that Ferrari feared in the 1960s, and I'll show you actual dyno numbers that will blow your mind. But here's the kicker. This isn't just about raw power. We're talking about engineering brilliance that was 50 years ahead of its time. These engines used principles that modern manufacturers are still trying to perfect. And wait until you see what happens when we put a twin-turbo setup on one of these vintage power plants. The results are absolutely mental. Revelation number 5, the Chevrolet LS7, the 1960s engine that never was. Okay, technically this beast was designed in the 1960s, but it was so advanced that Chevrolet couldn't actually produce it until 2006. The LS7 was originally conceived for the 1967 Corvette, but the technology just wasn't there yet. This 7.0-liter naturally aspirated monster produces 505 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque. But here's where it gets crazy. When you take this engine design and apply modern forced induction techniques that were theoretically possible in the 1960s, you get numbers that make a Bugatti Veyron nervous. I'm talking about 800, 900, even 1,000 plus horsepower from an engine architecture that your grandfather could have theoretically built. The LS7 in a lightweight 1960s chassis creates a power-to-weight ratio that modern supercars can only dream of. Watch this 1967 Camaro with an LS7 absolutely destroy a brand new Ferrari 488 GTB. It's not even close. The Ferrari driver probably thought he was racing a time machine. Revelation number 4, the McLaren M6 GT's secret weapon. In 1969, McLaren built what might be the most underrated supercar destroyer of all time, the M6 GT. This thing had a 5.0-liter Chevrolet Phi 8 that could hit 100 miles per hour in just 8 seconds and reach a top speed of 180 miles per hour. To put that in perspective, that's faster than a modern Porsche 911 Carrera. This car was so fast that it scared the racing authorities. They literally changed the rules to keep it out of competition. The M6 GT used technology that was revolutionary for its time: advanced aerodynamics, lightweight construction, and an engine tune that extracted every ounce of power from that Chevy small block. Only 3 were ever made, making it rarer than most modern hypercars. Revelation number 3, the Ferrari 250 LM, the Italian stallion that conquered Le Mans. While American muscle was dominating the streets, Ferrari had their own secret weapon, the 250 LM and its legendary 3.3-liter V12 engine. This was the last Ferrari to win Le Mans overall, and for good reason. This engine produced around 320 horsepower, which might not sound like much today, but remember, this was 1965. The power-to-weight ratio was absolutely insane. The 250 LM weighed just 1,800 pounds, giving it better acceleration than most modern sports cars. But here's what makes this engine truly special. It was designed to run flat out for 24 hours straight at Le Mans. The engineering tolerances, the metallurgy, the cooling systems, everything was built to a standard that most modern engines can't match. I've seen modern recreations of this engine producing over 400 horsepower with just basic modifications. Imagine what it could do with modern fuel injection and turbocharging. There's a reason why Ferrari V12s from this era are still considered the gold standard of engine design. And that's sound. Modern supercars with their turbos and emissions equipment just can't replicate the raw, mechanical symphony of a 1960s Ferrari Vivo 12 at full song. Revelation number 2, the twin-turbo time machine. Now we're getting to the really crazy stuff. What happens when you take a 1967 Corvette and give it a modern twin-turbo setup? You get a supercar-slaying monster that looks like it belongs in a museum, but performs like it's from the future. This particular build uses a twin-turbocharged LT1 engine, which is essentially a modern evolution of the small-block Chevy that was available in 1967. The result? Over 800 horsepower in a car that weighs 1,000 pounds less than a modern Corvette. Watch these dyno numbers climb: 400, 500, 600, 700, 800 horsepower. That's more power than a McLaren 720S in a car that's older than most people's parents. But the real magic happens on the track. This twin-turbo C2 Corvette has been filmed gapping Lamborghini Huracans, destroying Porsche 911 turbos, and making modern supercars look like they're driving in reverse. The secret is the power-to-weight ratio. Modern supercars are loaded down with safety equipment, emissions controls, and luxury features. This 1960s chassis is pure, unadulterated performance. Every pound is there for a reason, and that reason is speed. Of course, all this testing was done on closed courses with professional drivers, but the results speak for themselves. This 57-year-old platform is embarrassing cars that cost 10 times more. Revelation number 1, the Shelby Cobra 427, the supercar killer that started it all. Ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the ultimate 1960s supercar destroyer, the legendary Shelby Cobra 427. This is the car that made Ferrari executives lose sleep at night and forced Lamborghini to completely rethink their approach to performance. Carroll Shelby took a lightweight British roadster and stuffed it with Ford's most powerful big block V8, the 427 cubic inch monster that produced up to 485 horsepower in street trim. But here's the kicker. Race versions were making over 600 horsepower. 0 to 60 miles per hour in 3.2 seconds, quarter-mile times in the low 11 seconds. Top speeds over 180 miles per hour. These numbers were absolutely unheard of in 1965. To put this in perspective, the Cobra 427 was faster than the original McLaren F1. The Cobra didn't just beat supercars, it dominated them. At tracks around the world, these American-powered British roadsters were humiliating the best that Ferrari, Porsche, and Jaguar could offer. But here's where it gets really crazy. Original Cobra 427s are still competitive with modern supercars. I've seen documented cases of original, unmodified Cobras beating brand-new Corvette Z06, Porsche 911 GT3s, and even some McLarens. The secret was Shelby's obsession with power-to-weight ratio. The Cobra 427 weighed just 2,550 pounds. That's 1,000 pounds lighter than a modern Corvette. When you combine that with 485 horsepower, you get a power-to-weight ratio that most modern cars can't touch. And then there's the sound. That 427 big block doesn't just make power, it makes a sound that can wake the dead and strike fear into the hearts of supercar owners everywhere. Today, original Cobra 427s sell for millions of dollars, and for good reason. They represent the pinnacle of 1960s performance engineering, a time when engineers weren't constrained by emissions regulations or safety requirements. They could focus on one thing: pure, unadulterated speed. But here's where things get controversial. Not everyone agrees that these 1960s engines are superior to modern power plants. Critics argue that modern engines are more reliable, more efficient, and produce cleaner emissions. They say that while a 1960s engine might make impressive peak power numbers, modern engines have better torque curves, more sophisticated engine management systems, and can maintain their performance over hundreds of thousands of miles. Some automotive journalists have called this whole comparison unfair because we're comparing heavily modified classic cars to stock modern vehicles. They argue that if you spent the same money modifying a modern supercar, it would easily outperform any 1960s engine. The controversy reached a boiling point at last year's SEMA show when a modified 1969 Camaro with a twin-turbo LS engine, challenged a McLaren 765 LT to a drag race. The McLaren owner refused, claiming the comparison was meaningless because the Camaro wasn't street legal. The internet exploded. Classic car enthusiasts called modern supercar owners scared and elitist. Supercar fans fired back, saying that classic car guys were living in the past and ignoring the technological advances of the last 50 years. But here's the truth. Both sides have valid points. Modern engines are more sophisticated and refined, but there's something magical about the raw, mechanical brutality of a 1960s power plant that modern technology just can't replicate. You know what really gets me about these 1960s engines? It's not just the raw power or the impressive performance numbers, it's what they represent. A time when engineers were artists, when horsepower was king, and when the only limit was human imagination. These engines were built by hand, by craftsmen who took pride in every bolt, every gasket, every precisely machined surface. They didn't have computer simulations or advanced materials, just raw talent, experience, and an obsession with going fast. When I see a 1967 Corvette gap a modern McLaren, I'm not just watching a drag race, I'm witnessing a testament to human ingenuity. I'm seeing proof that sometimes the old ways really were better. These engines remind us that progress isn't always linear. Sometimes, in our rush to embrace the new, we lose sight of the timeless principles that made the classics so special. Raw power, mechanical simplicity, the pure, unfiltered connection between man and machine. But here's the beautiful thing. These engines aren't museum pieces. They're not relics of a bygone era. They're living, breathing examples of what's possible when passion meets engineering excellence. Every time one of these classic power plants fires up, it's a reminder that the spirit of innovation is timeless. So the next time you see a modern supercar getting gapped by a 50-year-old muscle car, don't just think about the performance numbers. Think about the generations of engineers, mechanics, and enthusiasts who refuse to let these mechanical masterpieces fade into history. And that's where you come in. This community of classic car enthusiasts is keeping these engines alive, not just in museums, but on the streets and tracks where they belong. Every restoration, every modification, every drag race is a vote for automotive passion over corporate efficiency. Whether it's a twin-turbo C2 Corvette embarrassing a Lamborghini, a Shelby Cobra showing a McLaren what real speed looks like, or a Ferrari 250 LM proving that Italian engineering was perfected 60 years ago. These engines are more than just mechanical devices. They're time machines that transport us to an era when cars had souls. So here's my challenge to you. Don't let the automotive accountants and efficiency experts convince you that newer is always better. Sometimes the greatest innovations happened when engineers were free to chase pure performance without compromise. If this video opened your eyes to the incredible world of classic performance engines, smash that like button and subscribe for more automotive deep dives. Drop a comment and tell me which 1960s engine you think could destroy modern supercars. I read every single one. And stick around because next week, we're diving into the most insane engine swap of all time. What happens when you put a modern Hellcat engine into a 1969 Dodge Charger? Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Until next time, keep the rubber side down and the horsepower up. Peace.